Week 10 is here, and myself, Erik Beimfohr, and Jordan Vanek are going to walk you through a blueprint for how to put together your Week 10 NFL DFS lineups on DraftKings and FanDuel. Resident Panthers fan and Panthers expert off of a huge win over the Green Bay Packers, which may have cost me a couple of shekels myself. We're going to dive into this Rico Dowdle thing. Jacoby Brissett is the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, and everything that you need to know for your Week 10 NFL DFS lineups here on Spike Week. Let's do it. GM Viper, Keaton, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And of course, yes, we're going to talk some NFL DFS myself and Jordan Vanek. I just got to say, I'm very happy for you as a Panthers fan, as a friend. I'm very unhappy with your Carolina Panthers for stealing $100 from me, donating it to the good, fine folks over at splashsports.com. I will say, I know this is a DFS show. We got a Survivor show that'll come out a little bit later here as well. They launched a new last week because everybody lost like the week before. I forget, whatever. There was like 5,000 people, like 5,500 or something like that in this new Survivor pool on Splash last week. You had to pick three. So for the rest of the season, you had to pick three winners every single week. I thought it was kind of cool, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to go down in flames very quickly. Yeah. I never once – this was like Bijan against the Dolphins, where it's like he was in the lineup. You know, the failure happened. It is what it is. We move on to the next week. The Packers were never, ever a consideration not to be in my – it was like they were chalk for sure. I was like, but if I'm going to fade some chalk, I'll fade some other chalk. 90% of the pool got knocked out in week one. I'm so triggered because it's 100K or 200K to first place or something like that. And you're already in the top. Like there's already only 500 people left in that pool. That's how big of an upset that Packers-Panthers game was.
That game was incredible. It reminds me of one of my buddies that plays Madden because Bryce Young was like audibling, like, yeah, pass protection. Like you got Micah and then handing the ball off to Rico. Like my buddy fake audibles in NCAA. So like we're a team that we don't beat ourselves. We're very, very like, we're gonna run the ball. We're gonna try to run the ball 40 times a game, and we'll throw it to Tet, we'll throw it to Leggett and Coker occasionally. Like we're not like we try to throw off play action. It's a fun week. I predicted the Panthers would have 11 wins before the season and actually have that tweet out there in the universe.
I love it.
So it is I thought we were going to beat the Jaguars and Patriots, but they're just juggernauts this year. But Packers, we're good. We got them. We'll hand them their second loss of the season. God knows how.
Incredible. It is obviously we don't need to spend the whole time talking about that game, but it's a great, I think, sort of like indicator of just how crazy this stuff can be, right? Like talked about the Bijan game where it was like, I don't know, man, like I'm just playing Bijan Robinson that week and he scores 5 fantasy points against the Miami Dolphins. And I think you and I and certainly like some analytic sites and just people watching the games are a little bit higher than maybe the general consensus has been on the Carolina Panthers this season. They've played a lot better than I think people thought that they would coming into the year, other than you, of course. But still, right, this is a 2-touchdown underdog winning a football game outright on the road in Green Bay, one of the tougher places to play. And it's like, this stuff is just chaotic, right? And so from a DFS perspective, I think it sets up this week where no Bengals, right? It's like every week is like, are the Bengals playing? Okay, let's see, right? Do we have to stack that game? Another 80 points last week in a Bengals game. Are the Cowboys playing? Right now, maybe that'll change a little bit with some of their trade deadlines, acquisitions, whatever. But generally speaking, still, right, there are going to be plenty of points in Cowboys games. And now it's like, are the Jets playing? And like we don't have any of this stuff. We don't have like hardly any of this stuff. Obviously the Jets, but we don't have Bengals. We don't have Cowboys. We don't have our Coors Field games, right? It's like you open up an MLB DFS slate on a random Tuesday. It's like, well, are the Rockies at home or are they on the road? And it's like it defines your slate, and we don't have that this week. And so I actually want to start because he's going to be very popular. Start with this Rico Dowdle thing. I think that people want to know, right? Is this Is this thing real? This is a really good spot against the New Orleans Saints. The price is probably not indicative of what the role has been and what the Carolina Panthers run game has been. I kind of think you have to start the slate with Rico Dowdle, which is wild, right? Like, as an idiot who faded him, I faded him the first week that Chuba missed and he scored like 40 points. And now I'm sitting here saying with Chuba in the lineup at 6,300, we have to start with Rico Dowdle. But I think that's what the people would want to know as well. Like, as the expert, but also as just a DFS player, what do you think about Rico this week?
He popped up with that quad injury, which is weird. Obviously, that's something to monitor because it feels like every week, like we were like, oh, this guy's great matchup, great spot, great play. He's got a hammy somehow. I don't know when it happened. Travis Hunter, it's fantastic. He's on IR, buddy. Good luck. You can't play him. I wanted to play Colson Loveland. Cole Kmet was back. Colson Loveland still did it. Rico, it's like, I like him a lot. This is the first time we're favorites in, I think, 19 games. I think it's because we weren't even favorites against the Jets.
Right.
Flipped and then flipped back. And I'm like, we ended as a 1.5 point underdogs against the Jets. And now for the first time in God knows how long, we are finally favorites. I like Rico. I would monitor the injury. And like, he's chalk I'd be willing to eat because that is just our offense. Like, that is what we're going to do. I don't mind trying to play like Tet to get away from him because Rico only pays off in a big way if he scores the touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And towards the red zone, Tet was 2 inches away from 2 touchdowns against the Packers, and Rico just ended up being the guy that scored both of those touchdowns. So I would probably play one of them. I wouldn't try to get cute and play a Bryce Young stack. I would just be simple with Tet or Rico.
I like it. I wanted to kind of start there, and we'll double back to quarterback now. But just because I think, using I can share, but using rotogrinders.com, which of course where Jordan and I do a show every Sunday morning. You can catch us Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern. Over there, Christian McCaffrey is projecting as the highest owned player, but unless which I shouldn't say this because it is Thursday. Every week, some form of value has opened up on a Friday that we don't, right? Like you just said, Travis Hunter got hurt in practice, and that opened up some things, right? These things happen. DeAndre Swift was a little bit of a surprise miss last week, so maybe some value will open up. But Christian McCaffrey, I'd be a little bit surprised if he's higher owned than Rico Dowdle as it stands right now. We'll get into that when we get to running back here in a second. But I think Rico Dowdle is going to be really, really popular. I think the matchup is really good. I think the Saints' run defense is one that you and I were talking earlier in the season.
Yeah, it's just falling apart. They're just getting beat up.
Exactly. Yeah, they were actually fairly stout against the run for the first month and a half of the season, and it's just kind of collapsed. Like Falcons level just collapsed. Guys have gotten banged up, and the season wears on, and when you're losing literally every single week, it's a little bit rough. So really, really good spot, I think, for Rico. Probably chalk that I will be eating, but we'll see what the injury reports and stuff come through. But let's talk about some quarterbacks. I kind of like this week, as much as I love my Coors Field games, right? There's nothing more fun than watching the Bengals give up 45 points to your stack, right, that you're playing, or Kyle Manungai or whatever. But it's kind of fun when there's not like this just absolute total slam dunk. Of course, Josh Allen at $7,000 is going to be popular. It's the Miami Dolphins, but I don't even find that to be like, oh my God, I can't fade Josh Allen in tournaments. There's a bunch of stuff that we can attack in a bunch of different games. None that like truly stand out above the rest. Agree, disagree, and what do you think about quarterback?
Yeah, the quarterback position, like quarterback and running back this week feel weird from like there's no obvious, like Josh Allen 7K. He is the highest projected on quarterback as well as just also the highest price. So it's not like it's, Caleb Williams where he's the best value, but also he is actually just the best quarterback on the slate, or Joe Flacco, obviously at the AC joint, but he was still relatively popular and ended up being one of the better quarterbacks. Like Lamar Jackson, to me, I'm scared of because he doesn't run well anymore. Like if you've watched him, his hammy is not right. Like he does not look fast, which is not something I like from Lamar. Like that hamstring injury he suffered at whatever point is what it is. Like he ended up throwing for 4 touchdowns to carry his total, but like he wasn't super efficient. He wasn't super great. And then also Brian Flores lately, man, it is frustrating what he did to Jahmyr Gibbs for me. But it's also like, can he do it again and make, Lamar beat him by throwing? Because Lamar takes a ton of sacks. And this year it's been really, really bad because he can't escape as much as he used to. And that's like, the top options between those two, it's like, just take Josh Allen because he's also the highest owned. And for me, that's where I want to go down. I want to take the mid-tier of quarterbacks. And the one that stands out is Jared Goff. I think he's just in for a huge bounce back against the Washington Commanders. This could be one of those games where he throws for 4 to 5 touchdowns, and in a spot where you look across like what the Commanders have given up and what they've allowed every single week this season, it feels like they're just getting gashed by receivers and tight ends. Like Travis Kelce, 21 points. Jake Ferguson, 22 points. You look at Kyle Pitts, 18 points. They held Brock Bowers because he was hurt, but he still had 3 for 60. 4 for 40. Jacoby Myers had 3 for 60. Tucker Kraft, 28 points. It's like, hey, I can take, Jared Goff and Laporta, try to fit in one of J-Mo or Amon-Ra, or just not even play him either, and just play those two and be like, hey, here's a TD equity. Amon-Ra, you get 120 yards. I don't care. Like, that still won't necessarily win you a GPP with Amon-Ra. And Jared Goff just get 4 touchdowns this week, which is something I think is easily capable of. And Marshawn Lattimore just went out with injury too.
Marshawn Lattimore on IR too,
yeah.
if I remember correctly. They're also, not only are they getting gashed through the air, they set up as a bit of a pass funnel. I'm not sure that matters a ton for the Lions and without Jaden Daniels, right? But that it does mean we're going to get some efficiency, as you mentioned, through the air. And one of my favorite things about Lions weeks, right? Weeks where the Lions are probably going to put up a bunch of points. Terrible performance last week. I love them as like bounce back type options. Like you've talked about, which I like tonight, by the way, you've talked about in the past, like Cortland Sutton, like Bo Nix to Cortland Sutton after a down game, right? We got one of those tonight. It's another one where it's like pass funnel defense. Cortland Sutton had a bad game, right? Short week. So it's like, trust the old reliable Cortland Sutton. That's like the Lions. It's like, have a bad game playing this pass funnel defense, come out, let's go hang 50 on.
Well, they did this week 1 with the Packers. They sucked against the Packers, and then against the Bears, they threw for 400, and J-Mo and Amon-Ra put up 100 each. Like, also, the other thing I'll say, if you look at the Commanders' defense against pass-catching running backs, DeAndre Swift, 67 yards and a touchdown. Bijan Robinson, 100 yards. Like, they've given up these massive passing games to the running backs. So, like, hey, Jahmyr Gibbs, you go for 100 and a touchdown as well through the air. That just helps, Jared Goff. It makes me less afraid of playing Goff and being like, oh, they just, try to beat them through the ground. It's like, no, they can just throw a screen to Jahmyr Gibbs and you go for 80 and a touchdown. And that'll help me with my Jared Goff lineups.
just to put a bow on like this Commanders matchup. So I like EPA per play and all that kind of stuff. Some of the sites calculate it a little bit differently. So you see, but I like this one just because I like NF Elo, just because I like the formatting and everything. But if you see, this Commanders line down here, they are, from an overall EPA per play perspective, the 6th worst defense in football. But I mentioned this pass funnel. What I love about the certain teams is like the Bengals just suck against everything, right? The Cowboys are a little bit worse against the pass. The Jets mostly now just suck against everything. But the Commanders, right, are actually above average. So you see this negative is good for defense, bad for offense from an EPA perspective. They're actually like pretty good against the run, right? It's kind of like the Saints thing we talked about before. It's like, this is kind of league average, but still they're like fine against the run, and they are an abomination against the pass, right? And not that Marshawn Lattimore is old Marshawn Lattimore, but they did lose another starting defensive. The guy behind him is probably worse, right? Even if he's not that great anymore. So I just love this. And I trust in the Lions to be like we know what to do, right? We know how to take advantage of this situation. And we also know that when it's the 4th quarter and it's 35-7, it may not be, it may be an offensive tackle or something like that scores, but that's fine for Jared Goff. Right, that's totally fine for Jared Goff. It's not great for J-Mo or whatever, but I just feel that they're always going to kind of keep pushing the pace, and I love them. What do you think about? Here's a question from OSID. What do you think about Tua stacks? If Allen is going to be popular on the one side, like can you play James Cook, or just can you play like a Tua stack or something, as opposed to save a little bit of money? Sid wants to know.
Yeah, I can't play Tua. He just isn't. They like without Darren Waller too. That's a bigger thing.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, if they don't have that red zone pass catcher for Tua to throw the touchdown, like the Bills are obviously not the same defense of old, but they're still a very fine defense. They still perform really well. I do think the Dolphins can push the Bills. Like, it's just a rivalry thing. Like, literally, that Thursday night game just a few weeks ago, people with survivor pools are sweating the Dolphins actually beating the Bills in Buffalo after being as putrid as they've been. Like, I feel like I would rather just take a Jalen Waddle as a run back, or Devon Achane, and just mini the game with like a Kincaid or James Cook if he's fully healthy, instead of, or even Josh Allen, just mini it that way and not try to take a 48 under Tua. I just can't see him paying off.
Makes a ton of sense. Part of the reason why I'm not super into Tua, and now this is facing a pretty tough defense, but this is like the opposite side. Washington's terrible, but they're specifically terrible against the pass. The Seattle Seahawks defense is awesome, third best from an EPA per play perspective. But interestingly, it's like you don't run on Seattle, right? You just don't. No one does. Yeah. And you can have a little bit of success through the air. I also expect, this is another thing I can't believe in week 10 of 2025. I'm like, I know Sam Darnold is going to score a bunch of points, right? It's like Clint Kubiak with JSN is having the single greatest efficiency wide receiver season, basically. Like, he's doing what Tyreek Hill did in his prime with Patrick Mahomes, and JSN is doing it with Sam Darnold at quarterback. It's pretty crazy, but I trust the Seahawks to score points against the Arizona Cardinals. And obviously Kyler Murray was just placed on injured reserve. I'm not sure if that's a Brooklyn Nets tanking at the end of an NBA season style IR move, or if he's actually hurt. But nonetheless, Jacoby Brissett is 4,600. And so he is the originator of the tush push and the QB sneak, right? He has the upside from a rushing perspective, even if it's like not Lamar and Josh Allen level, but he'll get some sneaks, he'll get some rushing, and he's playing really well, and they're going to play from behind. I don't love playing guys against the Seahawks, but if I'm going to do it, a $4,600 rushing quarterback sounds a little bit better to me than Tua, quite frankly.
Yeah, the Jacoby Brissett, he's just better than Kyler. It is gross to say that out loud, but watching Marvin Harrison play with Jacoby Brissett makes me not feel like I was wrong about my take with Marvin Harrison. Right. Because he can actually throw with timing. He can see down the middle of the field, and it looks like Marvin Harrison just enjoys football again. Like, I mean, obviously he broke DeRon Bland, but like over the middle of the field, and like the things that he drops in different, like the frustrating plays are just no longer there with him. So yeah, no, I mean, Jacoby Brissett has just been incredible since taking over that offense. It's just hilarious.
I mean, look at this, and just from a fantasy perspective, right? And these are not like, I mean, the Cowboys are, but like the Packers and the Colts are not like some cupcake matchups. And he's going out dropping 20 plus, right? We're getting a little bit of this rushing. I don't think he has. So last week he had the rushing touchdown, but in those other games, right? No rushing touchdown, 320 yards against the Colts. Like, that one makes a little bit more sense to me than Tua, though. I mean, I understand the Tua side of things, because I also think the Bills defense stinks. Yeah. So I totally get that. Another defense that stinks, the New York Football Giants, not great. You mentioned Caleb Williams before. I don't love, more of 6K Caleb Williams, but he projects pretty well as a top 5-6 level quarterback. And the Bears are definitely going to score some points. What do you think about Caleb?
So with Caleb Williams, it basically comes down to Paulson Adebo for me. Is he playing? Because he is just so impactful for what their secondary is. And I believe he didn't practice yesterday, so obviously that will change things. Cordell Flott with a concussion, that's another guy that's very, very important. Javon Holland with his knee injury. Like, there's multiple guys in this Giants secondary that if they get ruled out, then yes, I will be fine playing Caleb. The biggest issue with Caleb Williams right now from the playing him perspective is Who do you stack him with? I've been trying. Like, I wish Luther Burden would come back because that would be nice. But how much is he playing? Roma Dunze's just disappeared, and now Roma Dunze's father is just out here tweeting like, "Please get him off the team" and stuff. Reminds me of Odell's dad with Baker Mayfield, where like honestly, like if you're a Bears fan, just be patient for once. Like this is working. This is actually a spot where you're building an identity, and Caleb Williams is getting better. Is he not great after the scripted plays? Whatever. That he is not very good after the scripted plays, but this is also like what his rookie season should be. Where Ben Johnson's great, and then Ben Johnson's trying and they're working towards being great, and then he made the great play at the end of the game. Like just appreciate what you kind of have going forward. Like Loveland is probably in the best matchup. I'd probably just stick to Caleb and Loveland. Because Loveland has just really come on lately. Obviously, the last game was a huge one, but it really is dependent on the Giants secondary. If they're healthy, I might be playing Giants defense. Just that pass rush is going to kill those tackles.
And Caleb, like you said, is getting better. It's how would I describe it? Yesterday, I described it as like it's like sporadic and hectic. It's like it's like a little bit watching like really heavy, fast, high speed traffic or something where you're like, this is working, right? People are getting to work, but I'm pretty terrified that something bad is about to happen at any moment here. Like it's very chaotic watching him play because he is all over the place. He's running right. He's holding the football and then he does the old Trevor Lawrence reverse spin out far too much for my liking. Also, Lawrence doing it is so funny. It's like never ending spin moves that go nowhere. But Caleb does it and runs around and he's pointing and doing all this kind of stuff. And it feels like you were talking about like Madden with Bryce Young. It feels like a Madden player, like the Michael Vick era Madden player where you run around all the time, right in the backfield. But he's getting the job done and he's playing much better. So I agree with you. I think some of the injuries are a big deal, but I also think the Giants have shown that they can push back a little bit. You're seeing Jackson Dart projecting well himself on the other side. If you don't like Caleb Williams, it feels weird. No Malik Neighbors, right? No Cam Scattaboo, but that just puts more pressure on Jackson Dart. And assuming he, is smart and doesn't get himself killed, he's going to keep scoring fantasy points because he's going to run. And I actually think Brian Daboll is doing a pretty good job. So both of those quarterbacks in that game, I think, are pretty appealing as well. Anything on Dart or your next favorite quarterback?
Dart, definitely a very, very good player here. I just hate how owned he is every week. I think that's like the biggest determining factor for me. It's like, man, like everybody's getting here and like it deserves it. Like, I mean, dropped over 23 out of the last 4 weeks. The only week that he didn't was the week where Scattaboo just, ended up having the horrific injury and it kind of like
and still almost scored 20.
Yeah, he still almost got there and against an Eagles defense that is obviously pretty good. So like I would much rather play the Dart side and get to like Kyle Monagai if DeAndre Swift's out again, or even DeAndre Swift if he's fully healthy, instead of trying to figure out who Caleb is throwing the ball to get that production. Because it just Romo Dunze not being a part of any of it was so mind-boggling for me. It's like one of those things where I look back because it was the game I was paying attention to, but obviously I was in on JJ McCarthy, so I was watching him throw 90-mile-an-hour fastballs at everybody. The dude just has no touch. It frustrates me so much because he has it. He throws so well, and it's like, brother, like there was a play where Justin Jefferson caught like a seam route. And JJ McCarthy threw it at him like 90 miles an hour. And JJ just had to literally catch it and cradle it because he could not catch it and run. It was impossible. And if he would have just thrown that with just an ounce of touch, it would have been one of those JJ plays where he takes it up the seam and then it's gone because he had so much space around him. It was pretty frustrating. But as far as the next tier of quarterbacks that I like, I'm surprised that Marcus Mariota is getting as much love as he is. I don't get that one much, but I look at trying to think. Like Jacoby Brissett might honestly be my next best quarterback here. Like I don't like Bryce Young in that matchup. Justin Fields can run and he's fun, but it seems like he's good against the really, really bad teams and really, really bad against anybody is somewhat competent. The Browns defense is pretty competent. I do like what the Jets did at the deadline as far as trades go. So like that game could be a little bit of a higher scoring.
If they can score, they're gonna get themselves into the Coors Field conversation because they were bad on defense with those guys, and they just traded away all of their good defensive players.
Yeah. I like their trades. I like that.
I
If
agree.
I'm hoping AD Mitchell can come along in the offense and just play, like just get out, because like now it's, hey, you got a fresh start, kid. Like
Yep.
you're not,
This is
obviously,
his chance.
yeah,
This is certainly his chance.
he'll be out there. But yeah, no, Jacoby Brissett is probably my next favorite quarterback. I did the JJ McCarthy thing last week, but against this Ravens defense, they're starting to play with swagger. They're starting to play with that confidence that I expect them to play with. And the way he throws the ball, he has no ability to throw touch. And it's gonna get, like, there's gonna be passes where they just hit the receiver's hands and fly up into the air, and someone's gonna come down with it. That game is probably two of the fun defenses for Lamar Jackson getting sacked, and then on the flip side, JJ McCarthy just throwing fastballs and that turned into an interception.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, Jacoby Brissett's probably my next favorite quarterback, and I really don't want to go down to this tier.
Yeah. People would probably ask about, because I will say, we'll talk about it when we get to receiver and running back, of course, but the Rams are going to score another boatload of points here. $6,500 Matthew Stafford. Like, Matthew Stafford is $6,500 and Josh Allen is $7,000. Like, I just can't, like, I'll play Josh Allen and like double stack Matthew Stafford. I know that seems like insane, but it's just like Josh Allen. There's no world in which Matthew Stafford, like a high enough percentage of the time, outscores Josh Allen. And you mentioned Lamar. It's like, I don't love the spot for Lamar, but if Lamar's hamstring is all of a sudden healthy or something, like, it's still Lamar Jackson, or I can spend down. And I know that Stafford has had some games where I think somebody won a Millie Maker earlier with Matthew Stafford. He definitely has more fantasy upside with Devontae Adams now than he has in years past. It's just like, what are you really winning at $6,500, right? What, like 26, 27, right? These absolute peak games are 30, and like, that's great. But I just don't see it with him. Like I said, I will like some of the Rams pass catchers and Kyron Williams, but I want to pick on the Niners. I just don't really want to do it with the statue, Matthew Stafford.
Also, I will say, I was about to say, Drake May is another quarterback that I like a lot this week. It is a weird matchup. But
do you think that this Kayshon Boutte got hurt? And I actually kind of liked how he was coming on at wide receiver, giving them another kind of down the field weapon that could be nice against this Bucs defense specifically. Do you think that matters? And kind of similarly, like, Drake May is great. Drake May deserves to be 6,400, but like, can I stomach Drake May at 6,400? Like, again, when I can just go, my difficulty is like, I don't even like love Josh Allen this week, but it's like, he's only 7,000. And if I'm going to get into this mid sixes, it's like, am I really going to pay 6,500 for one of these other guys when Josh Allen and Lamar and stuff are just a couple hundred more?
So the reason I love Drake May a lot is, if you watch the film aspect, this player isn't necessarily going to pop in projections because he hasn't done anything. His role this year is learn the offense and just kind of be a part of the team. I love Kyle Williams. Okay. Demario Douglas obviously popped off in the game. He does not play in 3 wide receiver sets. It's just not, or 2 wide receiver sets. It's not his thing. And obviously Matt Collins is a great blocker. But Kyle Williams, when you watch the game from like purely looking at him as a separator, just winning at the line of scrimmage, he cooked AJ Terrell. He was just cooking him. It's just he wasn't supposed to be a part of the game plan. And like I said, like I've always said, Josh McDaniels is someone that, from a game plan perspective, if you're not a part of it during the week, you're not going to be a part of it just all of a sudden in the game. And when you look at like who beat Buccaneers from a passing perspective, Mac Jones, Sam Darnold, not Jalen Hurts, or Penix, basically. Those are the 3 that beat the Buccaneers. And when you look at the Sam Darnold game, it's when they go to these heavy personnels and they get these teams into spots where they're putting 3 linebackers, because Todd Bowles is not letting you run the ball. Like, it's just, that is anti. That is only 2 running backs in his 9 years over there in Tampa Bay with multiple playoff games have scored over 30. That's McCaffrey and Gibbs, and that's it. That's the only 2 guys that have done that. they're not going to let the Patriots run the ball because that would just make the Patriots offense really, really difficult. And if you get the opportunity for Booty to be out, then I think Kyle Williams at 3K will allow you to just pair with Drake May, play him with Diggs too, because those are the ways to carry it. And they're going to try to play a lot more 2 tight end sets, be a little bit more heavy. And from a passing game perspective, the deep shots in the seam, the just route running wide receivers, which is what Kyle Williams is. He's one of my favorite receivers in the draft from a dynasty perspective. I still really, really like him because, hey, Drake May being good is really good for that. Yeah. It's just learn the offense and then develop. This is the first week where Josh McDaniels is not going to be foolish and see like, oh, this kid was cooking AJ Terrell. We can get him snaps this week. We're going to get him some looks. And if he starts winning early, he'll continue to win throughout the game.
Makes a ton of sense. Kai asks, Pop, and so what I will say specifically to this question is pop in those sets as the running back occasionally. That's what he scored on last week. And as he was lined up in the backfield and ran the wheel. It was so triggering as someone who played Travion Henderson. That is the play all summer and every preseason game. All they did was use Travion in that way. Line him up in the backfield, run the wheel route. And he it was like every other day in training camp was like Travion scored another 60-yard touchdown on a wheel route. And it's like that. Then they ran the play and Pop got the route and runs past the linebacker, scores a touchdown. Good throw from Drake May. But yeah, Pop is playing like 15 snaps. Again, like game script doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Nothing. He is a gadget player, like you said. And so you mentioned he's not playing in 2 wide receiver sets. He's not even always playing in three wide receiver sets, like you mentioned. So they'll move Diggs around. Matt Collins will come in, right? Kyle Williams, obviously, now with Booty.
Kyle Williams ran more routes than DeMario last week.
Yep.
Like he was out there more. He's just not a part of the game plan.
He's just not a thing. He's a little gadgety weapon that they'll use, and he's no pun intended, or maybe pun intended, popped off a couple of times on some big plays. But I like the Patriots take. The Bucs have always been just the most insane pass funnel, so they represent another pretty good similar spot to that, where they're a competent defense, but if you're going to get them, you're going to get them through the air, which is always nice to know. Is like, if this gets home, I know where it's coming from. Is like really nice to know. I think that's about it, and I can't do Baker. I think Sam Darnold is fine. He'll pop up for the occasional 30 ball or whatever, but nothing super special there. I think it's a fairly tight player pool for me. If I'm spending down, I do like Jacoby Brissett. Yeah. It's still tough for me to get to May and Stafford, even though I like the spots with Allen and Lamar there. And then there's Dart, Caleb, etc. in that mid range that are pretty nice. And then of course Jared Goff in our Lions stacks. Did I miss anything?
No, it feels very straightforward for me at quarterback this weekend with just, hey, pick one of the top guys, like from Dart up, pick, 2 to 3 guys that you really like and stick the building around that. And the other guys that you liked, you could probably get to their running back because their running backs are probably going to be the reason that they don't get there.
Yep. I like that. Perfect segue into the running back position where I mentioned earlier, Christian McCaffrey projecting to be very popular. I have luckily played CMC in the spots when he's gone ham. It feels weird to be getting, I'm a frequent CMC fader, but so far so good in 2025. What I will say, he's $9,000. It's deserved. He is, like you've mentioned, he's like Wan'Dale Robinson plus Najee Harris or something like that, but just in one player. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's going to catch 6 or 7 balls and get 20 carries. He has been one of the worst running backs from a rushing perspective in all of football. It's not an exaggeration. I think he's second worst in rush yards over expected. Hilariously, Alvin Kamara, woof. Chuba, which is part of why Rico Dowdle has completely taken over. So 4th worst, right down there with Kamara, Tracy, Chuba Hubbard, and our boy Travion. But he's just been bad. He's not the same player as a rusher anymore. And this spot to me sets up as a pretty fun spot to fade him. Now it's not going to be fun. It's not. I shouldn't say a fun spot. It's not going to be fun. But from like a like go get those Lion stacks, right? Spend up on Amon-Ra, spend up elsewhere when there's not necessarily a lot of value. I think this sets up to be more of the like 20 to 25 point CMC game, which is great, but it's not necessarily winning you a bunch of tournaments, because I trust this Rams defense much more than I trust the matchups where CMC is really crushed. He's going to catch a bunch of balls, but if he doesn't score the touchdowns this week, and they're not going to score as many touchdowns this week, in my opinion, against the Rams defense, I think $9,000 at 30% owned is not something I'm as interested in as I have been in recent weeks.
It's the first week where it feels like, how do you find that value? Like how do you get to 9K Christian McCaffrey? And obviously I know the Sims and everything will kind of place it together, but if you're getting to 9K McCaffrey, like you're gonna really have to pay down at some lineups. Like, is it going to be 2 tight end builds that is the pathway that Sims gets you there? Is it going to, because the cheap receivers, there's not like glaring guys,
right?
It's definitely one of those spots where also the 49ers, like if Brock Purdy plays, like I know Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey can be really good, but Brock Purdy is also way better at throwing to George Kittle, way better at throwing to Ricky Pearsall, who might return this week. He's been he's been possibly returning every single week forever because it seems like Kyle Shanahan and them just never get the injuries. Juwan Johnson, I know he's playing with all the injuries. He's still, caught a touchdown last week, can be a guy that gets you different. I think he had 45 the last time he played the Rams with McCaffrey.
That was his huge. Yep.
Yeah, he had 49. Like
Debo and Kittle missed, if I recall. Debo and Kittle missed, and Ayuk was like the mega chalk, and Juwan went for like a 50 ball. It was hilarious.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where I could definitely not try to play McCaffrey. And I mean, the running back matchups underneath him from like a price perspective, like Cook against the Dolphins, that seems better to me. Like the Dolphins are still like, they just got rid of Jalen Phillips. They're not really a great run defense as is at all. And he's in a spot where he's obviously the pathway that Josh Allen fails. Derrick Henry, 6'8". Like the Vikings have been terrible against the run on certain matchups. I don't know when. I've been really bad at guessing when. But it seems like they're just in a spot where like you see Kenneth Gainwell go for 150 and you're like, Gibbs, you got it, Gibbs. He gets absolutely shut down. So Matt Stafford, Kyron Williams, like I know the 49ers defense, like they haven't been good. They're dead. Like Michael Williams also just got hurt, I think, for the year. So like they literally don't have anybody. And Kyron finally has run well from an efficiency standpoint. And with the way that Puka and Devontae Adams have been, like you're the 49, you can't go single high. You have to keep 2 deep against this defense. There is no chance you're covering them both at the same time. The Rams were my preseason Super Bowl pick, and it feels like they're shaping out to be that way.
One of my biggest future stands, which I did put a little bit more on Seattle, which feels fine. But so if you went to the NFC West like futures betting market, the Niners were like the heavy favorite to win the division. It was insane. I just kept screaming like the wrong team is favored. Like they don't even have this right. And they were a pretty significant favorite. And the Rams were the second favorite. And Seattle was last behind Arizona. And so I was like, this is all wrong. Like everything about this is wrong. So I bet the Rams and the Seahawks to win the West. So I feel really good about that. Of course, I would like for Seattle to do it because I believe they were 7-1. But the Niners are just not that good. The Rams are really, really good. That's totally fine for Christian, right? It's not that the Niners can't score. The defense is bad. I really like Kyron. Everything that you said. He's like a way that, of course, McCaffrey can get there if Kyron is crushing. But if the Rams are just eating on the ground, right? McVay ain't gonna stop. That clock keeps on ticking, right? And CMC still needs a lot of volume to get home, and Kyron's kind of a way that like can kill the game and can kill CMC and like can kill his teammates who we like, but also how does Puka not have a huge game against this trash ass defense? How does Devontae not score 2 or 3 touchdowns right against this defense? It's like, well, Kyron is the reason why he's not going to be he's not low owned, but he's not going to be super popular. He never seems to totally pop from an ownership perspective. So I like him a lot. I can't believe Kyron Williams and Derrick Henry at the same price. And I think I like Kyron Williams, but such is life. Another back who I really like, monitoring I believe he returned to practice yesterday, but literally right next to Kyron from a pricing perspective is Quinshon Judkins. I mentioned the Jets traded away everyone at the trade deadline. They've been a solid, a couple teams have cooked them in the run game recently, but they've been a little bit more solid from a run defense perspective. But I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. I think this is going to be just an overall everybody can eat against this defense. And if Judkins is back and fully healthy at 6,500, I think he can have another big game. It's the Browns. They sucked against the Dolphins and what have you from a rushing perspective. But Judkins is a solid football player, and I just think the Jets defense is going to be that bad. So he stands out as well, especially at this ownership.
The Kyren, fun one here. Kyren scored over 34 times in his career, which feels low for Kyren. Like but he usually gets in the 20s.
Yep.
2 of those games are against the 49ers, and one of them was just this past Thursday night game where he fumbled at the 1-yard line.
Oh.
He could have had 40 in that game. He would have had another 7 point. Like Kyren to me is like, this is the path that Stafford fails. Derrick Henry's the path that Lamar fails. James Cook is the path that Josh Allen fails. Jahmyr Gibbs is the path that Jared Goff fails. Jared Goff could be good with Gibbs still being good because of the passing game work. But it's so many different options to the way you construct based on what you're due at quarterback to me is the way that I would kind of go about running back. And then obviously now we get to Rico Dowdle in a great spot. Aaron Jones, is he fully healthy? Again, did he get hurt in that game? I don't know.
Yeah, shoulder.
Yeah.
It wasn't they MRI and such, and there's nothing like long-term significant, but it does. He
was the lead back.
He took over the backfield. I was pretty shocked, and he looked good. I mean, Aaron Jones always, when he's healthy and when he's playing and when he's getting the football, he's just, even at his age, he's just always good. It's just the old availability problem is a pretty big one for him.
I just saw that they had Jordan Mason at 6'2" and they had Aaron Jones at 5'2", and that makes absolutely zero sense.
None. Zero.
Considering that Kyle Monagai is 5'6" and DeAndre Swift is 6'1". They both should just be around this, hovering the 6K range. But running back, it feels like this is the weakest week of running back we've had. Granted, no Bijan, no Jonathan Taylor, probably is the reason I feel that way. But it definitely feels like even McCaffrey doesn't feel like, oh, I got to play it. Mm-hmm. This is probably a really fun week to get different at running back.
I totally agree. I do think DeAndre Swift, if he plays, Monungai is gonna he was already getting a fair share of the backfield, kind of like the David Montgomery
Jamal Williams.
This was the old poor man's Lions. Yeah, Jamal Williams to Gibbs, but he's gonna get some, but that's okay. DeAndre Swift was getting home before, and like you said, that would be a way, that Rome and Caleb don't get there, is just dominating on the ground. And I think they can, right? This is the New York Football Giants, who are the worst run defense in all of football. Ben Johnson is assuredly licking his fucking chops to come into this game and just destroy them on the ground, so he doesn't have to watch Caleb run around like a chicken with his head cut off back there, right? It's let's just feed Monungai and Swift. And I think if Swift is healthy, which it seems like he's going to be, of course, Monungai becomes an awesome play if Swift misses, right? But assuming Swift plays, I actually quite like him at 6,100 in this spot, because I don't think people are going to be that excited, even though the matchup is pretty awesome. Speaking of getting different, where would you get different, like a total tournament moonshot?
If I had to pick which of the just get different options on this particular slate, Quinshon I think is one. I know he's coming in at 12. He definitely stands out. I'm interested to see how the Kyren and Derrick Henry ownership plays out, because I do believe that Kyren will come in lower on because of that. They're pretty much the same price. How do you a user's just not clicking Kyren over Derrick Henry? I don't think a user can do so. Gibbs at 8K is someone that even though I like Goff, he's coming in 7%. And it's still he had a bad week. He dropped 39 the week before. It feels like ownership's living in the land of he was bad last week, he can't be good this week. It's no, he dropped 39. He was bad against the Chiefs and the Vikings, but he was good against Tampa Bay. To be honest with you, I probably would have picked those three as the most difficult games on his schedule. The Commanders have been a run funnel, but they've been bad against pass catching running backs. You know the Lions and Dan Campbell are aware of that, and they're going to try to put Bobby Wagner in space.
I can't wait to watch Bobby Wagner try to cover Jahmyr Gibbs in the open field. Like that dude. I mean, all respect to Bobby Wagner for still being around and playing NFL football, but him in coverage ever against Jahmyr Gibbs, even in his prime, was not a good thing. Now at this advanced stage, that's like me trying to cover that. Like he has no fucking shot covering that dude in the open field.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Cardinals have been bad run defense lately too. They've been giving up over 5 yards a carry. Kenneth Walker, I know it is a fun mystery go box of what do we do there. This could be like a surprising week for Kenneth Walker to me at 5-3. He's getting ownership, which is crazy. Oh wow, that's the other. Yeah.
I love this, and I totally forgot about this. Bernie is one of our resident Spike Weekers, and he's a Lions fan. And you want to talk like they don't need the clipboard or what you want to call it material
motivation.
Yeah, they don't use motivation. But if you don't think that they're going to use it off of a loss, right, off of a bad game, if you don't think that they're going to come out here and light up Washington, I think you're misunderstanding how the Lions like to operate. Like they are it's like if you're watching the NBA, they finally lost last night, but the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? They're the best team in the NBA. They're playing their 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th guys out here and like beating all of the good teams, right? It's like they got guys who won't be in their rotation in a couple months who are dropping 25 points, right? It's like, but they don't need this motivation. It's like, dude, just wake Oklahoma City up when the playoffs are here is what they could do. But they're out here like us against the world, right? They're playing the fucking Blazers on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and they're out here like they're disrespecting us or whatever. It's like nobody's disrespecting you, dude. You're awesome. That's how the Lions at every meeting this week, right, are like, these motherfuckers knocked us out last year, right? Like we got to get our revenge. Let's go hang 50 on these guys.
Marcus Mariota's on the other side of the court.
Marcus Mariota's like, what did I do? Like it wasn't me. Like don't take it out on me, right? Like Debo's like, I wasn't fucking here. Like don't do this to me. But just more reason I think to like the Lions. Gibbs is a fun one from a tournament perspective. You want to talk about nobody's going to play him. I agree with you. Like, and like he did it against the Bucks. We like the matchup thing is not ideal for him. I prefer and I may end up playing right like the golf double.
Yeah,
but like he can do it against anyone. It doesn't matter because he can do it through the air. He can do it on the ground. If you miss one run fit, right, a linebacker, Bobby Wagner is slow, to cover him in the flat. What if Bobby Wagner is just a little slow, gets hung up somewhere? Gibbs is 88 and out the gate down the sideline against anybody. So if he can get home anywhere at 7%, he does look appealing in tournaments. I think
it's gross, but I don't even hate the idea of playing him with golf. I really don't.
I agree.
It's weird. It's not something that's going to get played a lot in tournaments, but I feel like it's hit before. I mean, obviously the Lions can score 1 million points on anybody, it feels like. But I'm intrigued. I'm going to have to look at that probably after because I want to know if Gibbs has had a GPP winning day with the Titans last year. I forgot about this game. Oh, no, never mind. Jared Goff only had 85 yards. I forgot they scored 52 and he had 85 yards passing.
In the Jags game last year when they scored 50, like everybody got home in that game. I don't know if Gibbs did.
He had over 100 yards and a touchdown on 12 touches. That's insane.
All right, let's so my AirPods just died, but let's transition over to wide receiver, and I'm gonna go get my backup headphones really quick, but I'll let you kick us off.
No, you're good. I at wide receiver this week, obviously the top of the top. You have probably the best pass catchers in the entire NFL right now, from like just floor, ceiling, everything with Puka, JSN, and JSN up top. I wouldn't include Amon-Ra in this one just because we've seen Amon-Ra kind of fail. Like his failing is, I guess, 13, 14. JSN's failing one game this year. It was actually against the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals defensive scheme, I've talked about it, is just different than other teams in the NFL. They love to play with like a 5-man front. They love to bring their safeties, give you 2 high shells, but play it 7 to 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. That is probably why JSN struggled. They did adjust in that second half against the Arizona Cardinals, so I'm intrigued to see if that trend continues. Because I feel like JSN in that Cardinals game had like 0 yards at halftime and then finished with 79 because they adjusted So I'm interested to see that chess match play out. I don't know if I'll buy into that chess match at 8-6. Like, I know he's incredible, but the Cardinals are a defense that are just very unique in the way their style of play is, and they can kind of not eliminate, but they see the Seahawks go to 2 tight end sets, and they're still in their base defense and forcing them to run. That's where it's going to be that, like, the Seahawks throw out of 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends. They love throwing the ball out of these looks because they have less defensive backs on the field. The Cardinals are a team that they don't really care. They're like, okay, run the ball. We want you to run the ball. Like, that is what Jonathan Gannon wants. That's what he did in Philly for all those years as well. And those Philly teams were absolutely disgusting against the run, terrible against the pass sometimes, but this secondary is a lot better than the previous. And I think they're much healthier. I don't think Will Johnson played in that game, the first matchup.
I think that's right. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, he didn't.
This is not my favorite JSN is like an incredible best ball pick, an incredible season long pick. At 8,600, like 30 fantasy points is nice. It's certainly not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want like Jamar Chase level, like, oh shit, right? 180-3 or whatever. And I'm not saying that JSN like technically can't get there, but I think you're more so hoping for like he's the highest raw scorer in a low scoring week at 8,600, as opposed to like, oh shit, he dropped 50, right? Like I just don't think he has that in his bag. Even as good as he's been, it's not his fault. It just is what it is, right? So he's fine, but I was kind of shocked to see him as owned as he is here this week, but maybe just a little indicative of overall what the week is looking like.
And this is also why Stafford's so hard to play, because you want Stafford doubled for that is his pathway, and you're paying
$17K.
You're paying a ridiculous amount for both. Like, I love Devontae Adams last week as a pivot off of Puka. He did outscore him by 0.2. He got there. We did it, and he hit the one deep shot that I needed for him to do it. But I'm so mad that I did not bet him to lead league in touchdowns. My brother bet George Pickens at like 50-1. I think it was something crazy for receiving touchdowns. I wanted to bet Devontae Adams too, but he didn't get that bet in.
He's such a hand in glove fit for this like exactly what they need. Like you've elaborated on this, that like the red zone rushing game isn't as good. You know, I mean, Kyron's 195 pounds. Like, he's a tough little fucker. Like, he's a good short yardage runner, like in between the 20s. But you get right. It's just different. You know, 3rd and 2 at your 40 is different than one at the 1 yard line. And he's just and Stafford is like having Josh Allen, and I'm not saying Derrick Henry needs the help, but like having Lamar Jackson next to Derrick Henry is just like such a weapon. And people don't think about it at the goal line as much, right? Like, people always get so triggered, like, I can't believe they ran out of the shotgun, you know, in short yardage or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, man. It works pretty well when the quarterback is a rushing threat to have that. You're just holding the backside so much longer than Matthew Stafford under center, right? It's just like they're just going to sell out. And Kyron, like I said, is my size. So like, I couldn't be getting a bunch of 1 yard touchdowns either. So Devontae, the greatest back shoulder fade player in the history of football with maybe the best hands ever, is just such a fucking weapon. But I think he's an interesting play this week. Devontae as like maybe Kyron ownership does steam up. We'll see. Puka, people just love Puka, as do I. Maybe they play him a little bit more. Devontae Adams projecting at like 6%. He's kind of like the Gibbs, right? Like if Gibbs scores 40 against anybody, are you surprised? No. If Devontae Adams scores 3 touchdowns against anybody, are you surprised? No. So it's like, I don't feel comfortable with it, but I think if I'm playing like large field tournaments, like plug Gibbs, plug Devontae in, and like play the fuck whoever you want, because like you got two guys. If they both score 30, like you're golden at 5% on each.
This is another fun one against Robert Saleh led 49ers defense. Devontae Adams, when he was on the Raiders, 7 for 153 and 2. Devontae Adams, when he was with the Packers, 12 for 132 and 1.
Good God.
10 for 173 and 1. And then this past game that they played in the overtime game, if you actually watched it, it was a lot like I think we talked like I said like, oh, Stafford and Devontae are getting better connection. That was the first game that I was like, it's not there. It's not there yet. And that it was like he missed him open. And he still had 88 yards receiving and 5 catches. And they also were like, we're not connecting. One drive, they're just like, no, we're just going to give Puka everything. So, again, it's one of those games where I'm looking at and I'm like, another just great pivot in GPPs. He's destroyed that defense. What should I call it? I just saw the person posted the JSN 42% target.
I like it.
I agree. It's the Cardinals do not play a normal brand of cover 4. It is not. It's the depth at which their safeties are and the way they bail. Like cover 4, you're basically trying. You're not trying to allow teams to throw over the top. I know Mina Kimes and everybody had that crazy debate, but their safeties don't give you. You want to throw over the top against the Cardinals for the way their safety depth is. And the way they play cover 4 is kind of like it's like cover 2, but just 5 yards down the field. Like they're not guarding the flats as much; they're guarding the deep half. It's just a very different brand, which is why JSN for the first half had 1 catch. It just wasn't where Seattle needed to go with the ball. This game, I do believe, like it's going to be a chess match. I'm interested to see how it works out. I want to see his numbers against if they ran cover 4 in the second half and if they had a counter to it. That's going to be a film study of mine for this freaking next few days.
I like it. I'll be also interested to see, maybe not this week, but you want to talk about, I mentioned hand and glove fit with Devontae Adams. Rashid Shaheed reuniting with Clint Kubiak on the outside, opening things up for Torrey Horton's a fun young rookie. He's just not ready for that level of responsibility, and Cooper Kupp is totally cooked. So adding a Shaheed level field stretcher that can open things up for JSN. Like, Jesus Christ, he's already averaging 4.6 yards per route run, like doing otherworldly things. And now he's going to have Shaheed threatening the defense deep. Like, what a great trade for the Seahawks. I do find it interesting. BTJ hasn't practiced yet, right? And he's banged up again. I'd be a little bit surprised. Yeah. I'm not saying that I want to play him, but just seeing him in the projections.
The Nico Collins, the narrative nonsense on that is so ridiculous. That was Tyson Campbell, guys. That was not who they have in their secondary now. He just destroyed Tyson Campbell. He had just a mismatch there, and they traded Tyson Campbell as soon as he went for over 100. They literally traded him the week after that happened. And I promise you, the Jaguars believe in Greg Newsome and their other corners to be able to do stuff. And with Davis Mills at quarterback, I just really don't have a lot of faith because Nico Collins' numbers with Davis Mills at quarterback against the Jaguars is averaging like 40 yards a game. So 6'7" Nico Collins with Davis Mills at 15%. I'm good. I'll play Jalen Waddle at 6'4", who's been good against the Bills. He's been great since Tyreek Hill's been traded. He's literally only had one bad game where it was that 40-mile-an-hour gust. I'll play him over that.
Against one of the better defenses in the rain, slop, 40-mile-an-hour winds. I think we can forgive Jalen Waddle. This is what everybody hoped for Jalen, right? If you drafted Jalen Waddle over the summer, and to see him, he was playing well, like reasonably well with Tyreek, and then to take on more when Tyreek goes down is exactly what you want. And like you said, they're going to have to score. Like, they're really going to have to score to keep up with Josh Allen. As you mentioned, he's 3% owned at the same price, a little bit cheaper than Nico Collins. I mean, I love we both do, right? Nico Collins is a superstar. He's an absolutely incredible wide receiver. But this guy with Davis Mills, and not that Tua is great, right? But this guy at 1/15 of the ownership having to play catch up against Josh Allen, you can just give me that. There's a bunch of guys like that though in this range, I think, right? Like Chris Olave on the other side. I don't like the spot, right? I actually have not played someone against your Panthers in quite a while, but like, who the fuck else is going to get the football on the New Orleans Saints, right? Garrett Wilson, same thing. Like, these are not good matchups, but these are guys who are also, right? The matchup isn't that great for Nico Collins, and he has Davis Mills. So if we're going to play guys in like suboptimal spots, like, just give me these target, right? Maybe Rome does bounce back. Why is Rome even lesser owned than Nico Collins. It's like, I mean, I know why, but I'm just saying, like at $6,000 against the Giants, why can't Rome cook some man coverage? Like you said, Paulson and Debo's out. Awesome. Sign me up for Rome then. Zay Flowers, like, again, we don't necessarily love this Ravens spot, but like one of my things I am excited for down the stretch, right, these last 8 weeks is the Ravens having to play with their hair on fire, right? They have no fucking margin for error. The start they got off to was so bad that like Zay is a guy who I'm very excited for. If he just catches one, and he's going to get his 60 yards like every single week or whatever. If he catches one long one or he catches a touchdown, he pays off. Maybe he breaks one against a Flores blitz, right? There's just a lot of guys in this range that I like that are not going to be very popular. I know Zay is, but still.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the week to kind of try to pay down at wide receiver. Like obviously the Amon-Ra, Puka, and JSN, if you can fit it. That's fine. Devontae Adams, I think, is really good tournament play. I'm not buying Egbuka yet until I see his hamstring look explosive. Like he just doesn't look like he has the same get off as he did. J Jet is against the Ravens. Like it's fine, but I just don't like the way that McCarthy throws a football right now. He just can't throw with touch, and it just drives me nuts. Like Zay Flowers, Diggs, McMillan, DJ Moore, if Paulson Adebo's out too, because I mean I think he had running back snaps too. I think he only had
just a couple. He went over his rushing prop on an end around in like the fourth quarter, which was I bet over 7.5 rushing yards for DJ Moore, and we were sweating it for quite a while. But his role was higher. He also threw the touchdown. on the
Oh my god, it was funny. My friend watches the show on Saturday or Sunday, and your words specifically were like, I don't know if I'd play DJ Moore and Caleb together, and he had just built that lineup. And he just like, as soon as I left the show, he's like, you guys just trashed my DJ Moore Caleb stack. And I started laughing, and he goes, but watch, he'll throw a touchdown. And then next thing you know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, there's no way. And we also talked, has that play ever failed?
Dude, it never fails. It literally never fails. Somebody threw a pick on it. Saints, Shaheed or Olave threw an interception on it. So of course the Saints could fuck it up. Olave threw a pick trying to throw a Philly special to Rattler, but it scores every time. It's like a cheat code. It's unbelievable. No one can stop it.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I got a buddy text me right away, like because also watches the show on Sunday mornings, and because I like DJ Moore, clearly he scored 23 fantasy points. He worked out well.
I thought he was going to be rushing.
Yeah, my take was that I probably shouldn't have said it that way, but whatever. We get excited. His absolute ceiling, I think, was generally negatively correlated with Caleb, and Caleb was going to be popular, right? And so it was like DJ Moore's this awesome, like you could play him with Monungai, you could play him as the pivot off of Rome, whatever. And then Philly special, as soon as it is like, because you could see Philly special coming as a viewer, right? Like from the snap. And I'm just like, oh my god, no way, no, so you're like kind of right, because DJ Moore took away, like he was passing and running, and so it was kind of taking away from Caleb. But I didn't know that he was going to throw a touchdown to Caleb.
That's so funny. It was so funny when I just saw his name come across. But it feels like the 6K and under range at receiver feels great. Like it feels like this week a natural user, like a normal user, will probably be gravitating towards a balance build. It doesn't feel like you're gonna get a ton of stars lineups. Like it just feels very difficult to get to. Like obviously ownership is going to project McCaffrey 30% because Sims, but feels like if you go like Rico, Kyron, and you're at receiver and you're just like Zay Flowers, Diggs, like that style of build is going to be very popular this week because there's not any clear scrubs that just pop in projections.
What do you think about a couple of these guys? Debo as a bring back to your lines. Are you gonna prioritize a bring back to like Goff stacks or Gibbs or anything like that? And then would it be Debo? Of course, Terry ruled out again. I feel pretty lukewarm on it. Like I'm playing the Lions because I want to play the Lions when they score 50. Not so much because I think this game is necessarily going to shoot out. Like I don't think Debo has to. he's going to have opportunity, but I don't think he has to have, right? It's a lot of the times we play the game stacks because it's like, well, how does Lamar get pushed, right? How does Josh Allen get pushed? I don't think the Lions need to be pushed. I think they're going to run through that fucking door no matter what.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of just playing Lions. Marcus Mariota just whatever. If he does it, he does it. Like if Debo's ceiling feels like 20. Like I think the most he scored in a game this year is like 23. Yeah. It's like, can he do that? Sure. Does he need to do that without the Lions? So the Lions to get there? No. Like I'd rather play Tet at 5'7", who hasn't showcased a big ceiling yet, but in this game could catch multiple touchdowns. The target share is there. Everything from a metric standpoint you're looking for is there. It just hasn't paid off from production. Marvin Harrison at 53. I mean, I'll say it. I'm not afraid of Rashid Shaheed. Rashid, I think, is going to play this week and play a lot. He knows the offense. Like he literally was just in the offense.
It's a good point.
And it's not in. I feel like his plays in particular are very simplistic. Of like, hey, we're motioning you. You're going deep. Sam's going to either try to hit JSN on a crosser or throw it over the top. Sam, just try to launch it. Like, I don't think I want to play Shaheed because it feels gross, but it would not surprise me if that's the pathway that JSN fails, because Shaheed caught this 60-yard touchdown against the Cardinals because Sam Darnold's just been dot thrower down the field. It was Kobe Drake this past week, Elijah Arroyo. Like, obviously guys he's been working with, but Shaheed is someone that you just have to throw it with air. As long as it's got air underneath it, he can find his pathway to getting there and find his pathway over the top.
Really interesting game stack as well. There's only 2 guys that get the football for the Cardinals, and there's really only one in the passing game for the Seahawks. So if they get this other guy, right, like another thing, like the Cardinals kind of need to be sped up a little bit. Like I haven't talked about this in a little while, especially because they're playing a little bit better. But like they're so fucking slow on offense. Like watching Amari Deemer, like I love Trey McBride and I am a big Marvin Harrison Jr. fan, but like there is no Shaheed on this team, right? There's no Deshaun Jackson. There's no whatever. Like it's Michael Wilson and Zay Jones and Greg Dortch. I remember when I've given this whole, they're really, really slow on offense. People are like, well, Dortch. I'm like, buddy, go look up Greg Dortch's 40 time. Like I'm faster than Greg Dortch is in a straight line. He's quick side to side, but he ain't fast. They have no juice on offense. And so you kind of need the game sped up. And dude, you're absolutely right. I knew that, obviously he knew the offense, but I just hadn't clicked for me yet.
Like he could, again, I don't think you need to play it but it is one of those paths that it's like, it's 5,200 and you're looking at the guys around 5,200 and it's like all guys that pretty much need the big play. Like Marvin Harrison, not so much, and Wandale, not so much, but like Jordan Addison needs the big play. J-Mo needs the big play.
Frankly, Shakir, who's projecting for 13% ownership, frankly, Shakir, like he can catch a bunch of passes, but how does he like have a big game? It's one of his like 60-yard run after catch. He has to do his yak thing.
Yeah, but I mean, again, and Shaheed with his numbers, like prior to the injury last season, he just went and had, 16, 21. He had 0 against Philly because that defense was destroying everybody and they couldn't throw downfield. And 18 against Atlanta, 19 against the Chiefs, and then he had 8 before exiting with a torn ACL. like again, and that's with Derek Carr and the Saints. And it's like, this is a spot where it's, Sam Darnold who's playing out of his mind. Garrett Wilson sneaky. I mean, the targets will be there. I don't think it's Denzel Ward versus Garrett Wilson, so it's really fun, just the Ohio State matchup there. Targets will be there, but just production with Justin Fields throwing the ball is hit or miss. It's really difficult.
I don't play anyone against the Browns except for your Aaron Rodgers shout, which will live rent-free in my head forever.
He's good against man coverage, man.
The Browns, notably you can get this at Sharp Football for free, but for anybody that wants to know, they have coverage rates, and it's so funny to look at, by the way, just as like a football fan. So like you see the normal team plays like 20% man coverage or so, right? Average is somewhere in the 20-ish% range for most teams. And the Browns are at 42. They're like, fuck you. We're cat coverage.
Well,
We always used to call it cat coverage back in the day. It's like, I got this cat, you got this cat, and we're just going to rush the passer. Good luck.
no, Jim Schwartz. He's the only. I'm trying to think. He's pretty much the only DC that was from the man coverage era. Like real, like true. We're just going to play cover. Like you had Mike Tomlin, who was a part of Tony Dungy's Tampa 2, and in inventing that, and that's why the Steelers are, they've just flipped against the Colts, which is why Daniel Jones was so confused. They just
that was so bad. I played Daniel Jones. That was so fucking bad.
It was one of those like, oh, remember guys, this is still Daniel Jones, and this is why the Colts are not winning the Super Bowl. I forget, like it's like
they just mortgaged the future to try to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean they should try. They should try, but it's just
I'm not sure I would have traded two firsts when Daniel Jones is my quarterback on an expiring contract. But I get it; they're trying to win. It's fine, but man, it's going to look bad in a few years. I fear for the Colts.
But continuing on with the receiver, Juwan Jennings is obviously a very good play, 4,600, especially if Brock Purdy comes back too. Purdy and him have a different connection that Mac Jones and him do not, because Mac Jones likes Kendrick Bourne more, it feels like. It's one of Bourne wasn't great.
Checking it down to CMC.
Yeah, and just every play, I'm trying to throw it to CMC. The Patriots are a very interesting defense right now. They're just like Drake London absolutely bullied them. I don't know if I want to play a Tez Johnson that's super chalky, but I see why people like it. like I see like the Patriots are a defense where he's not going to get Christian Gonzalez probably.
No.
And if he doesn't, then there's a chance. But I do think Jack Jones is a bit of a difficult matchup for him from the slot. It's just one of those like speed on speed.
I just can't fathom 16% owned $4,500 Tez Johnson. And I like Tez. I'm generally a fan, but just like from an archetype perspective, he's a good football player, but it's a little Pop Douglas-y and Wan'Dale Robinson-y. And it's not that those guys are like generally bad plays when I know Pop this year, but like historically, that archetype, it's just like when they're popular, right? It's like if you were like stacking this game and he was 2% owned or something like this, sure, bring him along for the ride, right? If it goes crazy and he catches 8 passes, great. But like a kind of popular, like a one-off Tez Johnson at 16% owned feels like one of the worst plays you can make.
Exactly. It's all the ownership percentages. Like we got to talk about him. I think so out of the gross bin of receivers, I think I have 3 that are my favorite. Kyle Williams, number 1 at 3K.
Yeah.
He's not going to project well. You're going to have to force it. You can't just expect the Sims to get him there. It's also like, even if I'm not playing Drake May, I still like a 3K Kyle Williams because I believe in the talent. There's one receiver that stood out to me. Jerry Jeudy at 3.9. It's gross. It's not for the faint of heart. But the Jets are a very, very, very high man coverage team. Jerry Jeudy, that is what he beats. That is the only pathway to usually his success. Against the Lions, before DJ Reader came over, he had basically 3 for 48 in the first drive. It was really fun for me. Against the Bengals, he had 66 yards receiving. Obviously, Joe Flacco was a part of those games. Dylan Gabriel is now the quarterback, so it is a bit different. But I do think Jerry Jeudy at 3.9 could pay off against the Jets defense without Sauce, because their slot corner is phenomenal. Their boundary corners suck. That is one area right now that is terrible, and that's probably where they should throw the ball too. I hope.
There's probably something here amongst the Browns. If you want to talk about, like you said, this is gross. Plug your nose. Don't watch the game. Do not watch this game. Okay. This game is just an abomination. Dylan Gabriel against Fields and this defense, just awful. But I truly believe that the Jets defense is going to be like that bad. And I mean, they have been most of the year anyway. That like there isn't a wide receiver over 4,000 on the Cleveland Browns. And it's like, it's gross. And maybe it is just Judkins. Maybe it is Fannin, right? But like, I find it hard to believe that no one's going to do something. Now, is that something like going to win us a tournament? That I can't say, of course. But like, it's just hard for me to fathom against this defense.
Like
I know how bad. Yeah.
Judkins feels safe, but the other guys.
Right. Judkins is like okay, I know I'm going to get something decent, but like I think somebody here amongst these wide receivers, right? Tillman, I don't imagine Tillman in his first week back, probably never having played with Dylan Gabriel, is the guy. But like, yeah, like Judy it is kind of insane that $3,900 Jerry Judy against the sauceless Jets. I like that, sauceless Jets. Is like not like no one cares. I know he's 7.9%, but we're just like, whatever. Who cares? You mix him into 5% of your lineups and it's fine. It's like if we said that 2 months ago, we'd be laughing our asses off.
Yeah, it's also his first read target share over through fantasy points against man coverage is like 25% with Dylan Gabriel. Harold Fannon's also 25%. I'm not ever going to say this out loud, but Dylan Gabriel, Fannin, and Judy would be just a hilarious way.
Oh my God.
McCaffrey. I just said it out loud and I was like, I can't just avoid this one because that would be a way to play Christian McCaffrey. Like if you told me like, hey, you got to play and you got to be unique.
I'm playing it. I'm playing one in the middle.
I have to play. I'm playing in the middle. Yes.
It's too late now. It's locked in.
I said it out loud. It felt weird as I was like, wait. So you're telling me I can get, and from a target share perspective, 50% of Dylan Gabriel's man coverage targets have gone to Fannin and Judy.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
What
a great! I can't wait to win $1 million with Dylan Gabriel, Jerry Judy, and Harold Fannin on Sunday. Garrett Wilson's gonna cook Denzel Ward on the bring back. Nothing like the old Browns. I just said don't watch this game, and now I'm like I can't wait to play 4 players from Browns.
That was terrible. We had Luther Burden and Jalen Coker are the other two that I don't mind. What if it's AD Mitchell? Just kidding. I'm not going that far.
I know. I do. I am interested to see what this is one of those this is it, bud. You ran out your you had the opportunity to earn it in Indy and you fumbled out of the end zone and then acted like a child so much that they made you inactive. And then they just tossed you into a trade like they didn't give a shit. This is it, right? This is your and you have all the opportunity in the world. There's not a competent receiver besides Garrett Wilson. Well, and of course, besides Tyler Johnson, obviously, for the Jets, but this is it. So obviously, like you said, not necessarily this week, but he could be somebody that we're talking about here pretty soon, I think, as the Jets give up a bunch of points and need to throw the ball. Just one final thing at wide receiver. If you're playing Josh Allen, is there a receiver that you like, or is it Kincaid, or are you just playing him without one of the receivers?
I'm just going to play him without. I'm going to play with Kincaid. That would be the only receiver I want. It's such a nightmare trying to figure that one out. And I like Keon Coleman. I hate that it's for you to say you like Keon Coleman, you have to believe he's a 1,300-yard receiver. It feels like that's it. Everybody, if you draft this guy, you got to just all of a sudden he's got to be a 1,300-yard receiver. He hasn't separated well this in his career. His receivers coach and him are not on the same page of what they're trying to do. I think he just got to they just got to treat him like it's Mike Williams. When Mike Williams was a Charger, how did Mike Williams get there? He did all the acrobatic catches that would frustrate me. It's this guy's not the guy, but he just would do it. That's how they got to throw the ball to Keon Coleman, and it's not a flavor receiver that is JSN or Puka. It's just not.
He's not a tactician, right?
Yeah, he's not going to be. If he were a route runner, he would be Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
that's
what's also interesting is I would never say Josh Allen can't do something, but Josh Allen's also never really had one. Even Gabe Davis as the big guy was the downfield home run threat, right? He wasn't.
Kelvin Benjamin was the only one.
That's true. Yeah, think about that. There's a fucking comp for you, Keon Coleman and Kelvin Benjamin at the goddamn Spider-Man meme. But he hasn't really had one of these guys, and I'm not sure it's stylistically the way Josh Allen likes to play anyway, really. But he also hasn't had the guy like this to where it's trust. He looks covered. You have to trust that he can go make a play when the guy's on him, because that's literally his skill. That's the one skill that he has. And I don't know that Josh has it in him. Maybe it's just between the ears, right? To even just throw, they do it every week. They probably just draw it up Josh, just throw it, right?
Yeah.
The play call is Josh, Josh, just throw it to Keon. I know he's not open, right? But like, I don't think Josh has it in him necessarily, right? That's why I like Shakir and so Kincaid gets open. Shakir doesn't, like, he's open, kind of schemed up and then runs after the catch. I just don't know that it's really that. It's kind of a, like you said, wide receiver schematic quarterback kind of issue, and Keon needs to be better as well. So I agree with you. I do think like he's probably going to have a good game at some point. And it would be, I just don't know that this isn't like last week, which segueing into the tight end position. This isn't like last week where we talked about like with Brock Bowers. I'm playing it before what happened last week happens. I want to play it because he's going to be expensive and more popular moving forward. I just don't feel that way about Keon, even though you could probably say it's somewhat similar. No Bowers though on this slate. He's playing tonight as we record on a Thursday in a much tougher spot against the Denver Broncos. But there is Trey McBride in that kind of sneaky fun Cardinals Seahawks game. There is Kittle as potential leverage on Christian McCaffrey. But overall, I don't find the tight end position to be very fun this week, and it kind of has been for the last month or so. Like, man, we could play two tight ends a lot of weeks. I don't really feel that this week, which is another reason why, like you mentioned, like maybe this mid-range stuff is more fun because like Theo Johnson chalk, like Jesus Christ, I don't know that I want to be playing that, right? That's like Tez Johnson chalk. Like I know Theo has been good, but we're talking about like 15-point ceiling good, not like I had to have him in tournaments.
Yes, to me, it feels like a week to pair your quarterback with your tight end. Like the Kittles and McBrides are one-off. Like they're totally fine one-offs, but like Kincaid and Josh Allen, that's a great way to pair. Miami's given up 6 touchdowns, 600 yards to tight ends this year. He already has 66 yards and a touchdown. And if you're the Dalton Kincaid, homer over here, I love Kincaid. He was my favorite tight end coming out in that class. I think his development is going extremely well. He just has had injuries and it's been killed him. But like,
awesome this year.
The last 4 weeks, like I traded for him in so many different leagues and convinced my brother to give up a second in 2028 for him in a tight end premium.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. That's what people are saying. It was low. Everybody thinks that like you're not good as a tight end in 2 years, you're bad. It's like, no. Then you have Laporta, who I love with Jared Goff. Like that's an easy just pairing. Kincaid against the Dolphins is definitely a great option. God, Laporta had, I feel like 20 in the first drive. I don't know if you watched that.
Yep. He scored right away. He was like all 3 of the first targets or something like that.
Yeah. I was watching the first drive and I was like, there's no way. And my buddy actually had a Laporta Loveland lineup.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Sicko.
I was sitting there with Bowers watching Laporta on that first drive, like, fuck me, dude. Like Bowers isn't going to outscore what he did on the first drive, on the first drive. It felt gross.
I think I said on the show last week, it would be really funny if we have double tight end the week after National Tight Ends Day.
Right.
And it literally was, if you go Loveland and freaking Bowers, you're shipping everything.
Yep. They scored 75 points or something like that between the two of them. It was absolutely insane.
But yeah, no, this week at tight end, like Kincaid is my favorite option of the top. Laporta is my favorite with Goff. Kittle and McBride are fine one-offs. I don't really think I'm going to get there. Like, I'm just going to let them be. They'll hang out, do what they got to do. Fannin, I don't love him as much with Njoku coming back, but my God, did I find that man coverage stat? And no, you got to get your Dylan Gabriel, Fannin, and Judy lineups going.
That's so funny. I do love it. But Harold Fannin is really good at football.
Yeah.
Archetypically very different from Dalton. The transition from Dalton Kincaid to Harold. Harold Fannin's like a fucking bowling ball.
He's John.
And he is. At like a tank version, like a bigger, like more physical version of Jonu's kind of like, super shifty. Very, very elusive. And Fannin is like, give me the ball. I'm running through everyone that's in front of me.
Watching him run routes at the Senior Bowl, I couldn't see it. Like, it's so, like, his hips don't break at all. I was like, I love Arroyo over him. I was team Elijah Arroyo after the Senior Bowl. And I really liked I liked what I saw from Arroyo versus Fannin. But again, this week, I don't know, who's your favorite out of the 4K range? Mine's Kincaid.
I think it's Kincaid. Laporta is right there because it's nice to get fairly cheap access to the. I like, bringing him along for the ride. You can do all sorts of fun stuff with the Lions, but it's one of those where like he's just gonna score it if they have one of those weeks. Like he's just definitely gonna score a touchdown. Can he get 2? Right? Is he a way that like how does Amon-Ra not do it? It's like, well, what if JMO catches a long one and Kincaid or Laporta catches 2 touchdowns? It's like now I got Goff really cheaply double stacked, right? That's how you can get CMC. That's how you can get Puka, JSN, Devonta, whatever you want to spend up on. And salary is a little tight this week. So I like the Laporta stuff. There isn't much at the it's just gross, man. Like every week there's always been like we like Juwan and like I liked Theo last week actually. There's been some of these guys every single week, and I just don't really see it down here amongst the cheapies. Like I'm somewhat excited for Mason Taylor down the stretch, but not against Cleveland, right? Like you said, Njoku's. I mean, I've played worse.
They put him at cornerback this past week for a few drives. I don't know if he threw, but he ran it. He was just out there wildcatting.
2 red zone rushes for I do remember seeing him at Wildcat. I just wasn't paying close enough attention to like, was he really playing quarterback extended?
But also, Dulcich weirdly was like a receiver.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
I forgot about that game. Because ESPN didn't allow me to watch it. So I had to watch the run back there. But I want to see how many routes he ran because I didn't actually check that yet.
That's an interesting one. I think
he's
ultimately, yeah. We on a week where we don't have them, these are some of the gross guys that you kind of gotta get to. I would say I'm probably going to live in this. Like I really like Trey McBride too, but I will say I'm probably going to live in this Kincaid, Laporta, Fannin, Loveland. Loveland. We didn't talk a ton about him, but in terms of you can't put this thing back in you can't put this genie back in the bottle type situation. I think Loveland looks pretty good, a good matchup as well against the Giants. Makes for a fun little.
Dulcich is on the Dolphins. I am the guy. I'm the guy.
Yeah.
He's a Dolphin now. It's a weird thing.
Dulcich has been getting passed around like around the league for a little while, but yeah, he's on the Dolphins now, taking the Darren Waller spot. Did you pull up how many rounds? I would be interested in.
He was 40. He went from 25% to 44% in the 2 weeks that he's been there. Week 9, he basically ran routes. Then he doubled Tanner Connor's route share, and pretty much.
I don't know who Tanner Connor is.
He's their tight end.
That's a fake name. This is a fake person. Look at this. Look at this picture. This is a fucking accountant. This is not an NFL football player. Look at this guy, Tanner Connor. He's got two lame first names. He's got 2 first names, and this is his picture. Oh my god, that's insane.
That's funny.
Give me Dulcich over Tanner. Look at that. Now that's an NFL football player.
Yeah, that's
right there, brother.
That's someone who's Tua Tagovailoa is going to turn the ball over.
He's got almost 30 in 2 weeks. 9 targets.
That was with.
Oh my god, that's
the preseason. That's Dart.
That's preseason.
That's Jackson Dart, baby.
Look at that is so funny.
Yeah, but he got 5 catches last week. So again, if you're punting, I think he's a fun punt option.
I don't mind that.
Literally the only way.
I really don't mind it. But yeah, it's just an extreme.
Because there's no doubt, like basically McBride. If McBride only gets 15, Kittle could do it, but
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like they'll use him as a blocker.
Also, think I want Purdy back if I'm going to play Kittle.
Yeah, he hasn't really played the Rams all that much lately. Weirdly enough, Kittle's just weirdly missed games there. But he's the best punt option. And then the 3K range, like again, if I play Lamar Jackson, I'll play a Mark Andrews or a Likely if I really want to. Drake May, I'll play a Hunter Henry, like just because of the goal line usage. But I'm not really trying to get anybody in this 3K range.
I agree. All right, let's hit on a couple defenses. The Osid asked if we would build a line. We can build it.
Yeah,
build a line at the end. Also, just super quickly, Slayton a pivot off of Wandale. What do you think about?
Slayton got a few deep targets. He just didn't connect. He dropped one of them, but he played decent.
He's done that like 3 times this year.
Yeah.
It's miserable. I've played him a couple times. And, Dart missed him a couple weeks ago against the Saints, so that was maybe a month ago or something like that. Dart, he should have had like 30. I think he had 7 or something against the Saints. Dart missed him. He was fucking 10 yards behind the defense. And Dart, also nothing triggers me more than when the guy's wide, like wide ass open, and they overthrow him. Yeah. It's like the only fucking thing you can't do, dude, is overthrow him. You have to give him a chance. And then he dropped one also. So he's got the old drop C's. But I think another guy that like a good game's probably coming for Darius Lee.
No, it's while we get over to defense. Check out number 3, baby. 3 in price. The Carolina Panthers are third price gross. And we don't get sacks.
It's unbelievable.
We do not get sacks at all. And if you watch the game, did you watch the Mike Jackson drop?
Yeah.
That is the funniest picture. And as a Panthers fan, I was like, thank God he dropped it, because that was 4th and 8. I'd rather have the ball at the 25 than wherever he was going to go. Because I felt like he was clearly running it out. But this week at defense, the Panthers are the highest projected defense. Excuse me? We don't get sacks. I don't know how to explain that.
I know Shuck is bad. I know. I played the Rams defense last week. No,
what's our pressure rate? I have to check this because it is actually frustrating me that we are. I'm going to tell whoever. I'm going to tell Chris over there. Like, we need to figure it out.
Sid said they're the 5th cheapest on FanDuel. That is more fitting, and I think that's not obscene to play them on FanDuel at 3,600, but at 3,500 on DraftKings, no.
Our pressure rate is 29%. That is the 32nd worst, with tying the 49ers. We don't get pressure. We don't really get like turnovers unless you really just throw it to us.
Right.
Like, no, there's no chance.
They're just the epitome of the bend but don't break. Play solid fundamental defense. Don't make bad mistakes and keep your team in the football game. Let Dowdle and co.
Yeah, but so actually getting to who I like on defense, the Ravens at 3-3 against McCarthy. I know it's on the road and it's a dome game, but if you're not playing, Lamar and different things, like McCarthy did not look all that great.
He's been terrible.
He just throws the ball really hard.
He's talented.
Yeah,
he's definitely talented. But I mentioned this last night in our Discord, the Spike Week Discord, which of course there's a link in the description. Charles, I believe McDonald, I forget. Anyway, he goes 4 verts on social media sites. He was kind of like ranting about how disingenuous the JJ McCarthy conversation. Like, everybody's like hyping this dude up because he's like fun, right? And I get
that video, he looked like a psychopath.
But he's playing very poorly. He'll make a highlight play every once in a while because he has the talent to do it. But he makes a lot of negative plays. So the Ravens actually stand out quite a bit to me. They've gotten healthier. They added at the deadline. They've added multiple defensive pieces over the course of the season. I think as they get healthier, and like you said, JJ McCarthy is going to give them every opportunity to have a big fantasy day on defense. It's just, we'll see if they take advantage of it.
Yeah, the Texans also great option at home against the Jaguars. They're the best defense in football. What they do every week is just insane. I don't know if those are updating, but I can tell you that they get a ton of pressure, they get a ton of sacks, and Brian Thomas and possibly, no Travis Hunter, possibly no Brian Thomas. I don't know how Liam Cohen's going to function on offense without literally the only people who can truly make plays. Jacoby Myers isn't coming in and doing much here.
He stinks. He's not any good anyway. Get ready to learn 12 Parker Washington targets, brother. Yeah. Like, that's what's going to happen.
And those are probably the 2 that stand out. And then at the end, like, the Vikings defense against Lamar is fine with all the sacks he's been giving up, but 16% owned. It's like, if Derrick Henry is effective, that defense is getting negative.
That's crazy. The mega. I understand they're 2,300. I understand it's a good defense and a pressure defense, and right, they're kind of a good fantasy defense because of the way that they play. But a 16% on defense against Lamar and Henry seems a little bit crazy. I will also just shout out. I like the Browns. Like every week, like Browns Texans. And what do we got to do to get these the two best, like two of the best. You mentioned the Texans, the best, two of the best defenses, especially from like a fantasy perspective with the sacks and everything like that. When are they going to be priced up? Like, why are the Panthers so much more expensive than the Texans? Like, I would play these guys in worse matchups every single week because they just cause so much havoc. And like, dude, you're telling me Justin Fields and that offense won't make mistakes against the Browns? Like, dude, you can sign me up for the Browns at 4% instead of the Vikings at 16.
Yeah, no, I agree. Osid, I mean, if you want to play the Millie Maker, yeah, no, that's fine. If you're fully set on playing Tua, I feel like playing Jalen Waddle without playing Jalen Waddle is just a mistake. You might as well play all 4.
Hey, Tua's got to get home passing.
Yeah.
And if he throws 5 touchdowns, Dulcich is cheap, Waddle's cheap enough, and Achane, can catch a bunch of balls. I don't see why you can't do some mega. If you really like the Dolphins that much, go for it.
What quarterback do you want to build our stack through? What do you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we most agree on the Lions.
Yeah, let's do a golf.
I would say. So we'll toss this in the Millie. Goff.
Laporta. I think
Laporta
is the way we feel about tight end.
Yep, I like it. Which receiver, or how do you want to build the rest of the stack?
I'm fine with JMO or Amon-Ra. I don't like it. Doesn't. I think JMO would be more fun from a price point.
Yeah, let's do that just to see what it gives us. They play the late game.
Yeah, they're the hammer.
Nice.
We got the good old hammer there.
Man, the afternoon is not bad. Cardinals. I never know the timing of the games. So it's fun until we open this up. But Rams, it's the NFC West plus the Lions in the afternoon.
Let's Rico Dowdle.
Dowdle. I was gonna say Dowdle, Kyren are probably my favorite running backs. Do those guys. All right, what do we like at receiver? Let's plug a defense just to see.
Texans.
Let's do Texans.
They're
60. See, look, this is what you talked about. Like nobody expensive, but nobody cheap leaves us right in this range. Someone could say, right, I would rather not do a CMC lineup, right? But if someone said do CMC, right, because you can afford him on this team, you got to find one cheap.
You got to find like a Kyle Williams,
right? A Kyle Williams, or whatever. That's your Jerry Jeudy type lineup would work here, but you can also live in this mid-range you can like this.
And that's where it's like, the 6K range, like, do you want to play like a Zay Flowers against Minnesota?
Right.
Because we don't have Derrick Henry, and Lamar can still throw the ball and not competent. He's running the ball all that well.
We definitely don't need to worry too much about ownership with this Lions stuff. So we plug Zay, that gives us 6,500.
Do you want to play Judkins against the Jets as our flex? Or
what about like Judkins Waddle?
Yeah,
I think that's it, right? So something like this.
It's a balanced build, but it's unique.
It's an awesome team. Now we're all going to chop it, right? Us and Sid and the folks. Now we're going to chop. We're not all going to be millionaires. We can share the millions, but like that's just an example, right? Of like, okay, so the Lions put up a big number, and like we all love Dowdle, Kyren, Waddle, Zay Flowers, and Judkins against this defense, right? With the best defense in the NFL in the Texans. Like that's the kind of stuff you can do with this sort of mid-range build that is pretty awesome this week without having to get super gross just to afford Christian McCaffrey or JSN
or Puka.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like it's definitely, to me, that feels like the way to build. 3 RB builds in the mid range is nice this week too. Like there's like 4 games with a total that's like 30 points. Didn't Joe Flacco and Caleb just play at noon?
Yeah, don't listen to this kind of stuff, Sid. It's there's also a running bit about the afternoon never, right? PMR never works. The afternoon never gets.
Brock Bowers, I promise you got there.
Brock Bowers did. That is for sure. It was beautiful. We got to give a final, as we do on Sundays. I'm going to be missing this Sunday. We're traveling, but every Sunday on GPP Final Takes on Roto Grinders, you can catch myself and Jordan and our friend Neil Orfield at 11 a.m. Eastern every Sunday. We give a final kind of bold call, what's going to win tournaments. We're going to do that as well here today. So we'll see how that holds up over the course of the weekend with potential injury news tomorrow and all that kind of stuff. What would be your, this is going to win tournaments, flag plant, bold call?
Ooh, flag plant, bold call. Kyle Williams breaks out for the New England Patriots. That's going to be my very, very bullish take of the weekend. He was one of my favorite receivers in the draft this past season. Got to see the dude up close and personal at the Senior Bowl. Reminds me a lot of Tank Dell. A lot of skill set in that regard. Quick and just breaks people at the line of scrimmage. I expect him to break this Tampa Bay defense. What about you, Eric?
I love that. I'm not getting that bold, though. I guess his season
as long as Booty's out. As long as Booty's out. My cop out's there.
Which I do assume. I do think Booty's gonna miss, but I guess it really, given his season, is probably not it is definitely sufficiently bold, maybe not as bold as Kyle Williams, but another Williams. Lions weeks mean Jameson Williams weeks. Like, this is the spot against this secondary. You remember Trey Tucker week? If Trey Tucker can do that against this defense, the Lions can do something with Jameson Williams down the field. It hasn't been the season that he's hoping for, that the Lions are hoping for. It's just like all the stars are aligning for one of those 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, catch a couple 50-yard passes or something. So I'm going to go Jameson Williams 4,900. I don't know what he is on FanDuel, but I think this is, I'm probably going to bet him to score a touchdown. I think this is a JMO week.
He had a 61-yard rushing touchdown in their playoff game. That's what I was like. I knew he had a big play somewhere.
Yes, I remember that. That now. It's just one of those. There's a little bit of narrative-y, right? But the Lions are such a good narrative team. We had the Demont game and all that. I like to buy into.
They're pretty simple. They just like to score a lot of points and just dominate teams. That's what they're going to be focused on.
And right, you do have to, like, from a this, right? Like from a football team, real life football team perspective, you got to find these like stupid ways to like self motivate, right? And like the whole like, okay, we bounce back week this week, and the whole Washington ended our season, right? We thought they thought they were going to win the Super Bowl last year. Yeah. And then Washington comes to town and beats the living piss out. Like, it wasn't even close, and destroys them. Like, they are going to be talking about that all week. And so sign me up for the Lions. You got anything else? Like, you got college football article dropping. Yeah. You got your NFL. What do you got coming out for the people this week?
College football articles, surprisingly, already out. I usually don't get that out early, but I am also going to Orlando on Friday, so I'll be at the Epic Universe while the Saturday games are going, because ESPN is taking away my college football. Might as well spend it outside now on Saturdays. But I'll be getting the college football show Friday. My NFL piece will probably come out around 5 or 6 tonight. I know everybody's locking in for Thursday, but it'll be out there and everything. You'll see Kyle Williams featured a part of the piece somehow, but some way I'll plug him in there. But Eric, appreciate it, and did not know you were missing Sunday. Now I'm scared of who's going to host.
Yeah, we'll make Neil host, or somebody else will cover it. I'm also going to Orlando on Sunday. We're going to the Magic and Celtics game, and then we're heading out to for a vacation. But so for just quick programming note, this show probably won't happen next week. I will be not in this country. I don't think the wife would appreciate if I'm like sitting on the beach streaming, talking about DFS. But be on the lookout for, you see the blueprint at the top of your screen. That's kind of the theme for all of the content we do here at Spike Week. Later today, we will have the Battle Royale, your underdog and drafters rankings coming out. We'll have the betting blueprint. So it's been a monster betting year over here at Spike Week. And if you are a premium subscriber, you get access to every single bet, prop, side, total, everything that we bet every single week. That'll be coming out. Just a quick teaser for tonight. If you're not a subscriber, Cortland Sutton. It's Cortland Sutton night. He's the Jameson Williams of tonight's game, not stylistically, but he's going to have a big game tonight against the Raiders. And then our DFS and drafts blueprint will come out probably tomorrow. So be on the lookout for all that. Make sure you check out all of Jordan's stuff and check him out on Sunday morning on Roto-Grinders, and you can catch me next week once I'm back next Sunday. But that'll do it for us here, week 10, and we'll see you guys, I guess, in week 12. Enjoy your weekend. Cheers.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? If you turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.